This is a guy gift that you can sew up. It is made with vinyl and it has cork in it and it fits guy stuff. I kind of got a head start, but I'm going to catch you up to speed. I just am using the materials that I already have on file or on hand. And my zipper is 10 inches. So I decided to make that first and then I will get the measurements for everything else. This piece right here, I cut 2 pieces of 2.5 by 11 inches and I sandwiched them into the zipper and sewed it down. This one is 3.5 inches by 10 and I just folded it in again, and I'm going to tuck the vinyl in and sew that down, and then we will sew that to the other side of our zipper. Now that the raw edges are hidden, I'm going to top stitch it to the zipper, and I'm just going to take some pins to pin it in place. And for some reason, I didn't catch the footage of me top stitching it down, but I think you get the picture. So we're just going to skip to this step right here. Now that I have the top of my project finished, I'm going to square it up and take the measurements of this top, and that's how I'm going to know what the size is needed for the back of my fabric. So I'm just going to lay this down on top of it, and you're going to need just some regular fabric for the outside, and then a coordinating fabric for the inside, and then warm and natural because we're gonna quilt it to keep it a little bit more sturdy. So I used cork for the inside of mine, and I think that gives it more of a cool man type finish. So the measurements for my backing fabric for just the regular fabric, the cork, and the warm and natural is 10.5 by 13 inches. So now I'm just going to take my sticky spray and spray it down just a tiny bit. You don't need a lot. And then I'm going to take it to my sewing machine. I have my walking foot in there, and I have my stitch length set to a 3, and I just realized I still had my jersey needle in there from when I sew clothes. So I'm going to hurry and change the needle. I'm using a quilting needle. And I also have these vinyl bags that I love because I do love to sew with vinyl. I really love admiring the quilty lines, but let's move on. Now I'm going to square it up again just to make it nice and tidy. And I've got some clips to keep it in place. And then I just want to quickly mention, if you are enjoying this video, make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button and keep watching. Thank you. We are ready for the binding. So let me cut 2.5 strips. You're just gonna want to measure it around your project. I'm just gonna cut 3 strips, which is more than enough binding. So after I cut these, I'm just going to sew these together, and you didn't see that footage, but right here you can see that I sewed down, I just did a basting stitch. And while you weren't looking, I went ahead and did this really cool label with my embroidering machine that says Veterans Matter. When sewing the binding on, you'll want to use a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and that's if you're going with the binding that you cut at 2.5 inches wide. So right here, I'm just doing that method where, you know, before I reach the corner, I'm gonna leave the 1/4 of an inch seam allowance even at the corner, and then I flip it up and then I flip it back down and then start sewing again. There are several other binding methods that you can use, but this is what I feel like using today. Vinyl bags are great because you can see what's inside the bag without actually opening up the bag. And if you haven't sewn with vinyl, I do have these vinyl sewing kits. They are available in my Etsy store, and they're $14, and I use them to hold all of my sewing notions. I'm actually struggling a lot with this binding because I did tell you guys to sew it at a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and I accidentally went with a 3/8. So as I'm folding it over to the top, the binding is really, really narrow, and I'm just curious to see how this is going to turn out. So I don't know. Let's see. I might end up unpicking all the binding and just doing it over. Okay, the moment of truth. I'm critiquing my work here, and so far it doesn't look bad, not bad at all. Let me see the back. Oh my gosh, I'm really, really loving it, you guys. You have to try this. I think it is, I don't know, I love the cork. Let me clean this part up a little bit because I did have to unpick a tiny bit of it, but it is not a big deal. What do you think of the cork? Let's try out the zipper here. And then let me see. Okay, so I put some like electronic stuff in it, and I don't know what kind of man things men put in their bags, but this is for my dad, and he travels a lot, so he can put whatever he needs in it and then just stick it in his overnight bag. Let me know what you think. I'm really excited for how this turned out. You know, a lot of guys, well, my husband and my dad have everything possible. So this was the most practical thing that I think I could give, and then I'll put a little gift card in it. I think he'll have some use for it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this inspired you to make your own project. Make sure that you click on the next video, and I will see you again. Until next time, happy sewing. Bye guys.